Welcome back to the Michigan Business Beat, brought to you on the Michigan Business Network. Chris Holman here, and we are at the Atheneum Hotel where Chuck Perricone, who is with me right now, has put together a thing called Dome IQ. And Chuck, it's so good of you to jump out because I know you have no time today. Let's grab what we can. Tell everybody what this is.
So this is the new member legislative leadership conference. We do this every 2 years. We started it in 2005. This is where we put leaders together with their members from both sides of the aisle. It's the only time in their legislative tenure that they meet together from both sides of the aisle behind closed doors. They're together all the time in session, Mackinac Conference, other conferences, but they're not behind closed doors like here. And the reason we do that is because I, as the first speaker under term limits, 64 out of 110 members, which was quite the adventure, I put this together, designed it to try and give new members and leaders the chance to privately get to know each other and talk about the unwritten rules. So what we have are a series of closed-door meetings, which is why I'm not in there, because I'm not a current member.
You got asked to leave, did you?
I tell them, I'm not going to be in here. I zip out. I guard the door. And it's the current members with their leadership, both sides of the aisle. And I started out with a few questions to make sure they're asking each other all the things that you would want to ask, but you might think they're silly. Dress code, eating on the floor. What if I'm upset with this person? What if that person makes a statement that I think is not true during session? What do I do? What happens if I hear the governor's not going to sign my bill? Who do I talk to? All the interpersonal things that you don't get at all the other conferences that talk about lobbying, mock session to practice, benefits, pay, where you park. We're the unwritten rules because the culture under a Capitol is completely different than anything you can imagine. Yeah. And I found all the sharp edges the hard way, and I want them to avoid that. So I put them together like this, and they love it, and it goes full tilt on conversations and discussion, and we do it 4 different sessions with different crisis communications, ethics in between panels, and it really gets them off to a running start. Otherwise, you're thrown into a new culture. It's going to take you a couple of years to figure out anything, really.
So you've been doing this a while. What drove you to put this together?
I put this together in 2005. I term limited out in 2000. I had to think it through. Doesn't usually take me 5 years to figure things out, but this one I spent some time on, and how to build the model. Brought it to Detroit in 2011, and the point was to just get these people up to speed as quickly as possible, more familiar with expectations of their leaders, how other members think, just put them into that pressure cooker for a day, and let them interact with all of the interpersonal stuff that otherwise would take a few years to figure out. Let's get it out there right now, and then when you get into session, you know how to get things done. Because the things that get in your way of getting things done when you're in a legislature or any committee setting, local government, doesn't matter, are all the things you don't control. And certainly the things you don't know. So let's get all of that out right now in one day. And we had a dinner last night, but you do that and you go home and now you're ready to serve and you've got a sense of what works, what doesn't work, and why. And that's the point of this. The DomeIQ.com, a sponsor, that's a company I started, and that was designed to help legislators and those that are advocating issues as well.
Okay. So you get these people together. Are you finding it's effective? I mean, is it having a result?
Every survey we've done after every conference, this is our 10th, is off the charts because it's all the things that they didn't think to ask. You know, gee, I didn't think of that question that my colleague just asked. Isn't that interesting? That happens all day long. And they get, again, preferences, pet peeves, what I learned the hard way, what I'd like to share with you from their leaders. Again, both sides of the aisle. And it's that personal conversation that you're never going to get anywhere else because you're in a chamber of 110 members. There's press in the front of the room. There are people in the gallery. You don't get this setting, and they won't meet again behind closed doors.
Yeah. So tell me about the strength of the party in dictating legislative votes.
Strength of the party. Well, that card is played a little bit more now than it has been in the past. We are definitely in a period of time where it's full frontal warfare, which is unfortunate. Yeah. It comes from those that are paid to advise and strategize. It's not the legislators themselves. People that get elected to office don't go into office and suddenly change. What happens is they go into office and they find that they're part of a group, and the only way you get anything done is half plus one, and it takes a while to figure out how to get half plus one.
Yeah.
This is designed to try and shortcut that so they have a better sense of how to get to half plus one. But as far as the political partisanship and the top-down from the paid advisors and strategists, the pundits, that's something that's going to have to work out, and it's going to take some time. It's unfortunate. There's a few people paid way too much money to play the partisan games and set things up the way they are. Of course, the media is going to cover it because that's where the interest is, and the rest of us have to listen to it, watch it, see it. It's sickening, but I can tell you the legislators are even less happy with it than we are.
Yeah. Well, Chuck Perricone, thanks on behalf of a lot of people for putting this together, because this is really necessary.
Thank you so much for your time and for being here.
Well, we appreciate it. Chuck Perricone, who has put together Dome IQ, which we are covering today at the Atheneum Hotel in downtown Detroit. I'm Chris Holman. You're watching the Michigan Business Beat on the Michigan Business Network.